This is a piece of handrail that has been up here for 3 years. I got it a little over 3 years ago when I did my upstairs railing with the lights, and I got enough for the downstairs one, and I'm finally getting back to it. So this is where our box for our van is supposed to be hung, but instead this has been sitting up here for all this time. Let's get it down and get it cut. And of course, doing a test piece first. Cutting the groove in here, and I'll go 2 saw blades wide, or a little bit more, and that'll be for the lighting. So need to move over a little bit and do the other groove. And this just shows evidence of other trials that I did 3 years ago using the router with various methods, but I think the saw blade's fine. And I don't need this entire piece, so I'll be able to work with that.
Is that all you needed?
Nope, one more time.
Oh, okay, because it's not wide enough.
Right.
Did you use a router for the other one, or did you do that?
I used the router, and God, it was so much work
I thought.
and so tough.
Should have used the router again.
Yeah. They probably have better things nowadays, but I think these were called board buddies, and they're anti-kickback. So they ratchet, they only roll one direction. So they keep pressure down and in toward the fence as it's rolling along. Been real happy with it. Of course, I should have bought them slightly sooner than I originally bought them. Could have saved the thumb a little bit. This is our stairway going from our garage floor level up to the upstairs level, the kitchen, office, living room, dining room. And when I first built this, I started building it about 20 years ago. And when I did, I only put railing on one side. I did not bother putting railing on the other side. It wasn't required, and it really didn't need it. So 3 years ago, I added this railing, and I have a video of some of that, and the light that's underneath it, it's up inside, and we'll be doing that on the new one. Then it has a light sensor that's up in the window up there, and when it gets dimmer in the evening and then all night, the little sensor turns the lights on. And it's got a dimmer switch right there, and we just have it quite dim, but it's enough to light up the stairs at night. So here is the stairway going down to the basement, and where we have the freeze dryer. So let's go down to the bottom. This is a concrete block from here down, a concrete block, and it's filled with concrete and all that. And then it's underground beyond that. And then the garage is on the other side of this wall, and that's still underground. So at this area, if you go back that direction, this is actually, well, that down there is 20 feet below ground level. But because of the slope, if you continue out that way, then it's ground, it's a walkout daylight basement eventually. So let's go down. This little pile of tools has been sitting there waiting for 3 years, or almost 3 years, since I finished the upstairs railing. This is the laundry room. So the laundry room acts as kind of a barrier between the upstairs and then the basement area. So that door goes to the basement. So we bought the property almost 21 years ago. And then we spent a year designing the house. My wife and I designed the house. We built a scale model of the property and of the house and put it on the scale model of the property, made sure that everything worked, had an architect go through it to make sure we didn't screw anything up. We had to make no changes, and we've been really happy with it. This stairway comes down to the basement, and as you can plainly see, it doesn't have a railing on the other side. I started adding the railing on the upstairs portion just a little over 3 years ago, because 3 years ago I had to have a second spine surgery. I had the first one 6 years earlier than that. Had to do that because I was going paralyzed. I had a damaged spot in the spine, and that was crushing the spinal cord and actually damaged and killed part of it. So made it more difficult to do a few things. But getting ready for that, we decided I should put the railing on the other side, because going up the stairs, I didn't know if I would be able to use my left hand to hold on to the left rail, and we'd put railings only on the left side, on the bottom stairway and the upstairs stairway. Turned out pretty well, so I can still use the left hand, which is good. We've decided it's really time to add this railing down here. So we're going to go through this process and add the railing on this side and the lights similar to the upstairs one, except on this one we'll probably use a movement sensor or a people sensor instead of a light sensor. On the other one we're using the light sensor because there's exterior window right there. Can't have an exterior window here because this is quite a ways underground here. Okay, so let's figure out where we're going to add the railing. This railing will require a little bit more than this side because partway up the stairs now, and this concrete wall is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches further this way than the drywall is. And then I've got this nice trim that I put, or at least I think it's nice. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So that caps the concrete wall, and the sole plate for that wall is all underneath that. Anyway, and it makes a nice little ledge that we can put things on. Anyway, the railing's going to come up along here, but it has to come out far enough to leave proper finger space between the railing and any wall portions. So it'll come out around that and then back in on that portion, so that it lines up with the trim the same way that that one does. So I'm going to do the same thing over in that side. So that's the plan. So let's get it figured out. These are the brackets that hold the railing, and I have 5 of them up this railing. And so I'm going to put a similar set on this side. So I need to transfer that information, that height, that location, over onto this side. And I need to figure out how long this piece of railing is going to be. The railing on this other side can extend further because this is the end of the wall, so I didn't want to come around and have a place to run into all the time. This side can continue further down beyond the bottom of this step, like we did on upstairs. So I'm going to extend it a little bit beyond that step, but I'll still locate that bracket piece the same place. So we'll find the screw hole for that over on the other side. So let's see if we can figure that out. So I'm making sure that I've got this plumb, and then I can measure how far that is, how high this screw is, and then I can measure how far it is from the nose of the stair, and then transfer that to the other side. 2.5 inches from that edge. Okay, 2.5 inches from the bottom. Make sure it's plumb. All right. Well, that's problematic. So I don't want to actually put it right here because where that screw would have to be. But I can use that after I figure out where that is and the next one's up the line. Then I can draw a line from there and then just bring this down according to that line. or I can bring it up a little bit since there's going to be another one just a little bit further down. So I'll probably bring it up so that it's all on one block. But first, I'll mark it here so that I know where it would have been. So I'll put this up against there. If I use that, I can put that here and then get the other ones and then put a straight edge across those. And then I can move this up that line. Again, that railing is going to be something like that angle. I'll be able to move it up that line and all the way onto a block so that it's not going over an edge like that. My other option would be to take it way down, but there's going to be another one down here anyway, so I'll probably come up. We'll find where the other ones are. Same process. So by doing that, and I'll get more points before I do that, but then I can connect those points, and that's the bottom screw on there. And of course it'd be halfway through there. But anyway, then I can put this anywhere on that line and I'll be lined up with where the railing needs to be. So I'll get the other marks and figure out where these need to go. I need this string to be held up here across that dot with a circle. There's another one down at the bottom, and there's another one here and here and here. So I need to play tug of war to get this as straight as possible and through those dots so then I can put where I'm going to put the hangers, because unfortunately I can't put them exactly across from here. I need to put them on this line though, but I can't put them across because each one of them ends up with bottom bolt being in the joint.
Okay.
And the top one doesn't end up on a stud. I can't use the dots that I have for 1, 2, 3, at least 4 out of the 6, and the other one I can't get at all. I have to wait until I have the railing in and just put it up afterwards. Okay, so one of you at the top, please, one at the bottom, and I use the pencil. Okay, is yours at the dot, Lena?
Yes.
Okay, down, so is that nice and snug?
I can pull snugger.
Okay, snugger, down, down, down.
Something's pulling.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, well, then I gotta get it back on the knot. The
Okay.
dot. Okay.
Okay, so all I need, I don't have to worry about this as long as it's on there. I'm gonna put one down there. So I'm gonna come down with them. Okay, there you go. So now we'll get those brackets attached. The first 3, so that one, and that one, can be directly put onto the wall. I don't think I need any spacers. The next one up there it is, that one will require a spacer block. there's the first two. Get the other ones up because this is the bottom one, so I wanted to have it close to the bottom, and I'll have the return right into the wall. Yeah, so we'll go to that one next. Okay, I'm gonna go for the top wall one up there. So that's it for right now. It'll still need 2 intermediate supports, and I have to bow it out to miss that wall and give the proper clearance, but it looks like it's doable. That block of foam is being squished too much right now, so it doesn't have as much clearance as it's going to, but I'll get the other supports. So I think I'll add a spacer to that first support that I already have. I'll space that one out a little bit so this won't have to curve out as much, and then it's going to come in quite a bit. So I get the railing this far along, and it seems to be in one plane. Of course, it's got quite a bend in it because that's the plan, because I don't want to put any sharp corners in it. So I'm just bending it around that floor level piece of trim, or ceiling level. It depends if you're upstairs or downstairs. Anyway, now try to get a couple more holes for a couple more brackets. So I'm going to have 3 more brackets, total of 6 brackets on this side. I had 5 on the other side, but on this side I'm more worried about these up here trying to pull out from the wall, and these getting too close to that space right there. So I'm going to put one right there and then another one right there on this piece of wall. So there'd be one on the concrete block, one on the drywall area, on a stud of course, and then there'll be another one right there, and that's what we're going to put right now. So let's see what we can do. This one's going to require a spacer, so it's on the printer right now. I'm not sure exactly the width that I need, so I'm just trying out a thin one, be about a 1/2 inch or so. Bring it out about there. As long as I drill the holes straight, perpendicular from the wall surface, it won't matter that I drill them now because it's still going to be screwed into this portion. Okay, so we'll get that one next. Tape the little dust catcher right here. And I may have to re-drill these when I put the spacers and add the longer bolts, because I'm not sure how long they're going to be. But we can start with that one. So we're starting with the smaller size drill. Now I need the 3D printed spacer before I can attach this one. So that's it for that one. Let's go check on the print. It's got quite a while to go, but we can still go check it. There's the print so far. Just a tapered base that ends up the same shape as the rail bracket. It still has hour 20 minutes to go, and this is the shortest one. But I wanted it pretty solid, so it's going to take a while. Well, these middle brackets that I'm putting on are going to be pushing, this rail is going to be trying to push into the wall. The next two are trying to pull away from the wall. So these won't have a lot of force on them. So let's try these little inserts, see if these are enough. I do not know. Without the spacer, I really can't do much. I mean, I could put this on there, but I can't attach it to the railing. But it needs to be this far out. Well, let's see if we can figure out the placement for the next one. So I want it to go about where those foam blocks are. And they're holding the railing out right now. Yeah, I can put a block down here a little bit and then up there, and then get the railing bracket marked and then drilled. Pretty much as high as I can, so it's as close to that. But I don't want to be too close to that top. The top of that block is just barely, so the block ends 8 inches from there. So it's right here. So basically, this trim ends right at the bottom of the wood that's there. It's not really even touching the concrete block. So I don't want to go too close and risk chipping any of the top of that block. So I'll stay down at least a couple inches in this area right here. And that will give it very close to that molding to help keep it pushed away from there. So get it straight up and down. And draw this. That's where I need to drill the holes. These two, yeah, I have to move the railing out of the way, otherwise I just can't get there. I'm gonna shift that up. So I'll get these lined back up onto there. Then we need one more up on the first stud area in the drywall. So let's move this down first. Touching the railing. There we go. So it should be right here. Well, I think this is the one I want to put it on. I put my bracket right here. This would be too tough to get into there. Well, it wouldn't fit. So it has to be on this one. I need to get this bracket in there, but it's so short I can't bump it up against there because I need a pretty long spacer to get it in here. So it's showing about here. So right there, that'd be fine for the railing. I believe that should be the spot. And if I miss, I can always fill them in and try again. No, definitely hit the wood. Feels like it. And that one I need to move the railing up a little bit to be able to get the right angle. That one missed. So let's find out where it's at and see if we just need to move over just a little bit. Because I can move up and over on that same plane without any big deal. Well, that's nasty looking. Ignore how terrible that looks. Let's go check on the spacer. Okay, still has 16 minutes to go on that. Still has 8 more layers to go. And figuring out where to put a little bracket piece, a piece that holds it to the rail. And for now, I'm not actually putting the screw holes. I'm just marking the outside edges of the piece of metal there. Come on, you can do it. That way I can mark it. I'll flip it all over and work on it later, but that'll give me my marks. Then I need one more for that one. I'll have to move that clamp. So that I can get the marks on it, because again, I'm not worried about the marks being at the right spot in and out, only up and down. This will give me the edges of this piece of metal, and then later when it's upside down and easier to work on, then I can mark where the holes go and pre-drill them. Let's go check the print again. Spacer number 1. 1 spacer down. But that's all for tonight on that. Get that off of there. That needs to cool a bit still. And then it should pop off of there. Okay. That should give us a spacer. And 80% solid, I think. I took this bracket off, the one up near, well, that's great, up near the floor molding for the next floor. Of course, I need to use longer screws. It's the length of the original screw. I'll use ones that are longer to account for that, though this is going to be pressing in, but you still have the twisting force on there. These are that much longer, which is just about the same as that thickness. And they're a real good match for that bracket still. And the 2 sets of brackets I have are slightly different because one's 3 years old. I didn't have this anymore. So the hole placement is slightly different, a millimeter or so. So I just made an oval hole in the bracket. That way I don't have to have 2 of them. And before I get it all the way tightened, I'll go ahead and get at least 1 more of them in there. I can pull it out and clamp it on it, and then don't have to have these foam pieces anymore. I'll release the top one first. This foam can come out. Okay, we have the spacing in there. Now, and we'll need a spacer for that one. It needs to come out a bit so I can measure how far it needs to come out and print a spacer for that. I'm going to add the spacers behind the ones that need it. So this one will be 5, 15, 25, 25, I think. So that's what I'm going to try first. So take the railing all the way off temporarily so I can work on them all at the same time. And it's unlikely that I have the size screws that I need, but I can get them up there temporarily and check the sizes needed. Okay, that one's the 5mm spacer. All right. Those particular anchor pieces are really nice. Now, go up to the next one. That one needs the 15mm. Yeah, I wish I knew what size those were. Those are working great. I need to find some more of those. Let's see if we can get a close-up picture of that. This is the 15mm spacer, and I don't know if this one is too big for this spot, so I might have to change this out for about a 10, which I'd have to print. All right, yeah, those are on there solid. Next one, 25. So make sure we have a screw that's long enough to go in. I think that's plenty, but I don't have enough screws of this size. I should go check around and see if I have any more. So I'll start with one in here, so I can go check to see if I have any more already, or if I have to go shopping for them. I know I have to shop for some screws because I know I don't have enough for all of them. Put one in for the alignment. Make sure. Okay, that lines up. Oh, that's nice. Wow, that's going to be good. Let's see if we can find any more screws this long. Okay, got the first one, 25mm one in there, found some screws. And we'll move on to the other 25mm one. Okay, that looks good. So I've got that one to go, but I want to get the handrail in place on these other ones to make sure that I've got everything lined up, and then I can measure how deep that or how thick that spacer needs to be. I think about 55mm, but I won't know until I get the railing in place and I can measure it to make sure. One of the important goals is to have at least this much space between the railing and this and any spot, but especially here, so as you go down the rail or up, you can't get trapped in there, so it needs to have the space. So that's why all the spacers. Okay, let's get the railing back in place and test it. I'm gonna start with this one right here and get it back to where it was and the correct distance out. So I think I need a second clamp on this one to make sure that it stays. Okay, have the space here that I want so I don't get trapped going up or down, or don't hit the knuckles. So I can get the measurement for how long that one needs to be. Then the question is, do I want to adjust these at all? Okay, and then I want to add a little bit to this one. Another 5mm on that one. And then this one. 55 would have been too long. I only need it to be about 52. We'll print one about 52 thick for that one. Okay, so I need a 5mm without a taper. It's just going to be a simple spacer, and then a 52mm. This one's 55, so I can just cut 3mm off of it. I'm going to save as 52 and 5mm, no taper. Move it over, pull it down, 5mm. That one's done. Now this one I need to cut off. Okay, select that, intersect the faces. I'm sorry about how loud this thing is. The fan is dying and I haven't bothered to replace it. Wow, that one is big. That's gonna take a while to print. Well, let's see how long it'll take. 14.5 hours. As soon as it's hot enough, we'll start it. The bed's 60 degrees now, Celsius. So, we'll be back and see it tomorrow.